Kyle here from allmediareviews.blogspot.com, and I'm here to do as brief of a review of the new Fates Warning album, Theories of Flight. I guess the thing is, it's been out for like a week now, not a week, a few days. It seems like it's a week. I've heard it for about 10 days or so, and the reviews were really glowing, and I love this band, so I have a natural fanboy bias. Although their last record, it just kind of sat there, and it was released toward the end of the year. Also, that was part of it. But so I honestly didn't. I was hopeful for this record, I guess, and part of it was the fact that obviously the focus for Jim Matheos and the band was to focus on this record rather than when they wrote Darkness in a different light. I always got the sense that the residual sort of and focus of that period of time of writing music, writing songs, writing riffs, melodies, harmonies, and rhythms and stuff like that it seemed to go more toward the Arch Matheos record for Jim Matheos. Anyway, this record actually I'm believing almost as good as everyone is saying it is. Now people are saying it's their favorite or the best Fates Warning record or the best Ray Alder Fates Warning record. I'm not willing to go that far, but it's one of these records that I'm surprised by, and even with a lot of the praised comments online, in video reviews and text or whatever else, I'm believing it. The song, third track, The Light and Shade of Things, actually it's the fourth track, my bad. The epic is just terrific. But I mean, just going down, I wrote initially in the blog and on like a couple message boards how the first four songs, especially from the Rooftops, which is 6 and almost 7 minutes, just under 7 minutes, 7 Stars, SOS, and The Light and Shade of Things are just perfect. They flow so well. They really harken back to I mean, not that much of the distant past, but it sounds almost like a blending of styles of Disconnected, A Pleasant Shade of Grey, and Parallels, or even Perfect Symmetry. I don't know. I guess that's my biggest feeling, is that there's tinges of textures and tones that are reminiscent of that, but at the same time, they seem to be sort of updated for 2016. I don't know if that totally makes sense for people, but it just does, because I mean, it's not like Disconnected or Pleasant Shade of Grey especially sound old, even though Pleasant Shade of Grey is almost 20 years ago. I can show the book and everything. And as far as what I have here, I have the CD. I pre-ordered the CD, and it comes with a bonus disc, but I don't have the vinyl yet. And I of course mean to get the vinyl after really enjoying this record. But here's the way the book looks. I'll just kind of show. Theories of Flight being the title. There's been a few different sort of guesses, observations based on the lyrics and kind of theme of it. Sort of about someone wanting to fly, like the title track is the last track, right? I'm pretty sure. Yes. Sort of wanting either to fly, in theory, away from their home or back to their original home, because that last track, which is wonderful, it's sort of a mesmerizing closing piece, a little bit like the last track on Disconnected, with some samples of this girl talking to someone, this woman talking to someone, and telling a story about, or asking about someone about how they moved a lot when they were a kid because their parent was like in the military or something, and at least in America, that's the way it frequently, for American people, if the American military bases around the country or maybe around the world. And so they were talking about how that's different for someone who grows up in one town, and a more common experience, and they often live in the same house, so they get attached to that, and they make all their memories, life experiences they associate frequently with that home. So the word theory, the phrase "theories of flight" could be, guessed as opposed to someone who wants to go back to that home that they are attached to, that hometown or that house, that home, that could be apartment, whatever, or could be someone who is just used to moving around, I guess, because the word flight, in a sense. I don't know. I'm probably reading way too much into it, and the thing is, with lyrics and song titles and album titles, for the most part, unless it gets too literal and in your face, I just focus on the music and the mood and the sort of emotions and stuff that actually comes to my mind. But anyway, that's more than enough analysis about the premise of this record. This is a very just sort of riffy record, very a lot of great vocal harmonies, vocal parts from Ray Alder. he sounds excellent on this album. Even though, you know, people have talked about how in the early days when he was with Fates Warning, he was singing, trying to sound like John Archer, using a lot of falsettos, which people criticize him sometimes for that. I actually thought he often sounded really good, really well. He did smoke, I guess, and so it kind of has changed his ability, his vocal cords, his capacity, so he's really been able just to sing in his natural range with this record, with the last, really since A Pleasant Shade of Grey, actually. So, but on this record, I would say also White Flag, another good track. Very, it's like people that are like being, supposedly White Flag talking, bury the white flag, we're not going to surrender, that kind of thing, if you're in experience of war. It might be citing ISIS, I don't know, or some other terrorist faction that's obviously in modern news and in society, unfortunately, today. Like Stars Our Eyes Have Seen, good track, probably the least appealing track on this album, and probably what in a way sort of holds it back at this point for being rated higher than I have it. I have it at like 4 stars, very strong 4 stars. But I mean, if that song seems to grow a little bit more on me, which it may, this record is going to be competing for my album of the year. The Ghosts of Home is a great growing epic, which I've listened to it 4, 5, 6 times now. And I'd say the first time I was just sort of lukewarm on it, but the more I hear it, the more I enjoy it. The Home Again, the riffs, I mean, just the riffs just work. And that's frequently what I love about Fates Warning. Not the only thing, but that's one of the biggest things that stands out is the riffs. Just in your face, just very clean distortion in a sense. I don't know. Jim Matheos has this guitar tone that I just love, and it's very distinct. But anyway, 7 stars, like I mentioned, very catchy, very memorable melody. SOS, someone mentioned it sounded like Opeth, which the first time I heard it or two, I didn't even think about that, but when I read that, I listened to it again, I was like, oh, it sort of does kind of sound like Opeth. So, anyway, there's probably a lot more I probably could say, but I'm not going to say for now, just to make this as short as I can. But yeah, I'm, as a Fates Warning fan for the last 19, 20 years, as I cited in a video I made about them back, I think, January. This is a breath of fresh air, and it's just really a great time to be a Fates Warning fan. I don't know what the chances of seeing them live, but great performances across the board. Bobby Jarzambek, the drummer, is very, very great, exceptional. His work on his cymbals work, his snare patterns, just very technical but tasteful and precise. The bass playing stands out on a few songs. I want to say it might be on White Flag, actually. I know that Frank Oresti and there's another Mike Abdow, showed up on a couple of these tracks who aren't really now considered official members, but like Abdow's a touring musician. Of course, Frank Oresti has been sort of in and out ever since he left after Inside Out in '95, but he plays a guitar solo, I think, on both White Flag and From the Rooftop, and you can kind of hear it. So, but anyway, for those who haven't heard it, I would definitely recommend it, and please give your comments if you want to. But otherwise, thanks for watching.